All right, this is Rob. I'm calling the meeting to order at 4:12. So I have to call on people, or how does it work, Lauren?
I'm on mute now. You can do a roll call to get started.
Okay, Susan Sardina,
Susan Sardina here.
Beth Tarpey. I'll assume you're here. Paul Kears.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm here.
So give me a thumbs up. Yeah, here. Then we have Lauren as a, I guess a guest. And then Mike Ahern, is that how you spell your last name?
Ahern, but yes, that's how
That's how you say your name, yep. As a guest as well. All right, but and with 1, 2, 4 of us were a quorum, right?
Yeah.
To Lauren, so good. Hold on 1 second. All right, Mike, why don't we give you, I'm sorry, it's 13 minutes in, so the meeting's called to order. All yours, go for it.
Okay, so Lauren, has the plan been sent around?
I did distribute the latest plan.
Okay, so you should have a copy of the plan. If you want to get that open.
Lauren, what day did you send that? Was that with the agenda?
Yes, I'm just gonna pull it up right now. I can share it in a minute. I just need to get it open. All right, give me a moment. Do you see that there? Oh, not working.
Yep.
Hold on. There we go. Okay, Mike, if you want to just let me know when you want to move
Yep.
between pages.
This is this would be garage parking level. I'm gonna turn the phone so I can hopefully see that better. It's the garage parking level. It shows the interior parking spaces, numbering 43 inside and then 7 outside. The 7 outside would be guest parking. The 3 inside would apply to the 20 units. Plus, if anyone had, somebody who had to stay over a longer term, there'd be 3 extra parking spaces. Also, for one of them would be for the manager of the building. So anytime they came, that they would be have a parking space, whether it's to clean the lobby or to interact with a tenant in any way, they would have a parking space that's dedicated. This shows the ground level. The shape that you're looking at is the dotted line is the shape of the lot that we are currently sitting on. And it's a little misleading. The dotted line right in the middle of the driveway that's just the building envelope zone that by today's setbacks we'd be allowed to build in. We can go to the next page, Lauren, if you want. We'll let you go to the next page.
You want to go to 3?
Or 2. Is
Okay,
second page here?
this is 2. Can you see that?
Oh, all I'm seeing is the parking plan right now on my screen.
Yep, same here.
Oh, okay, hold on a minute. Let me just try again. Better?
That's better. So the first floor and second floor are very typical. They're exactly the same design. There's a common lobby on both levels where the elevator would exit and where the stairwell is for egress. And then there's a rear stairwell at the end of the property on the left-hand side of that plan. Every apartment is basically, they're the same on both floors, some vary in square footage, and we're putting together a square footage chart. I have the numbers, but I don't have them sent to you yet, and I have to confirm them. But the plan you have has roughly what the square footage would be on each one. And if you look on just an example, the unit that's, I don't know if you could blow it up, Lauren. They'll let you do that.
Yep. Oh, sorry, I'm scrolling. Okay.
Get into the fancy stuff.
Just trying to zoom in. This is the side you wanted to see?
Yeah, so if you look at, just like where it says unit 103, that's 950 square feet.
Mhm.
Unit 104 is 950. So they're all gonna be around 950. I think there's a couple we have to tweak for mechanical rooms. Some end up 1,000 square feet, but they're all 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Mhm.
That's the apartment style that we're going for, and they'll all have 2 indoor parking spaces.
Mhm. And it's an in-suite and a, and
There's
a-
an ensuite and a common bath in each unit.
Gotcha. Cool.
And I think that next page, if I'm not mistaken, is an elevation. Yes. So this is how we anticipate the driveway side of the building to look. The top of that picture is the driveway side. The bottom is the back side that would face the golf course. Those
Okay.
people will obviously get pretty nice views on the golf course side. The lower windows you're seeing in the basement level, those are the garage ventilation windows. So
Mhm.
those look like windows, but they're actually ventilation.
Just to orient folks, this is North Main, right? This
That
left
is
side.
correct. That's North Main.
Okay,
Yes.
And so, yeah, so you got the top would be the golf course.
Back up
So
here.
what are these people looking at over they're just looking into woods or?
They're looking, well, there's a home there.
Oh, okay, home.
There's 2 homes on that side. So they'll be
so
looking
it's
at
kind
those
of,
homes.
it's kind of not quite 90 degrees, it's angling to the street.
It is angling to the street to make the most use out of the lot with the wetlands.
Okay,
We're not in the 50-foot buffer, which was important to us to not be in the 50-foot buffer.
exactly.
And then there's a lot of green space behind it. That's all going to remain wetlands. And then the golf course has their section of forest that's in between us and them. I know they're building a new maintenance shed, but I don't believe you're going to see it from this location when it's done. If we go to the 4th page, it's right there, that shows you the garage entry off of Main Street, off of North Main Street. So it's at the ground level, direct access. And the building tape is, the lot tape is downhill from the front of the street back, and then it comes back uphill when it goes to the abutters.
So you pull into the garage and then you have parking either to the right or left. There's a long row on either side. Is that how it works?
Yes, with a 24-foot drive lane in the middle, and that gives enough space for them to back out and
Back
drive
out
up.
and turn and come out.
Yeah, it's a bypass garage door, so it goes both lanes.
And then there's an elevator, what, at either end?
There's one elevator in the building.
Oh, there's one, okay.
Yes, there's a garage door at either end, and that's to facilitate if we wanted to, or if people were upset about having that. We've made it so that we can make it a unidirectional entry,
Okay,
where you could drive through and then drive back out and pass the guest parking. It's the next slide. We'll show you from the back. There's the beginning of that door. That's the front door. I'm sorry, it's one more. It should be slide number 7.
Number 7. There we go.
There you go. So this is the back. So they could literally open the back door, drive right out again and drive out to Main Street. So we should never have a traffic jam because we have 2 means of egress out of the garage.
okay, that's good.
And then this is the last slide of the packet.
Yes. So this is the side that's looking at it from the golf course.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's a lot more trees on site than that, but the architect's not going to draw every tree
Mhm.
for a proposal.
That'd be kind of funny, you know, it's like, yeah, there's all these trees, really, it's behind there. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's nice is they all have their own individual outdoor space, plenty of natural light coming into every unit. And I think it's not looking at it from Main Street, it doesn't look like an overwhelming building because it's not that wide.
Right, because if I go back to the earlier pages, you can see again sort of where you're approaching from the narrow side on the North Main Street
Right.
side of the building.
And because of the angle, when you're driving by, you're not even going to really notice this building is sitting there.
Yeah, what you're basically seeing is the garage door, is that right?
You'll see the garage door in the front. which I
Is there
know
any
is
way
not,
to put anything around the garage door so that it makes it a little more attractive?
not to block it out. And that was the other reason we came up with a dual entry. We thought if people didn't want to see the garage door, everyone could enter through the back and exit through the back. It just gets a little tight on that back driveway. We can't go back any further with that pavement because we need the rest of that land for stormwater.
Right.
Yeah, I think it looks nice.
Can you show the street, frontage side again? Okay,
That's the front.
okay.
And I'm sorry, how many units is this again?
It's 20 units, 20 apartments,
Cool.
and they'll be full rental. We could change that to like a carriage style door, something less commercial looking.
Yeah, that would be my only thought from a aesthetics standpoint. The side looks attractive, but you're not really seeing the side, you're just seeing the end of it.
Right.
I am fairly confident that the planning board will give you lots of opinions.
Oh, I'm sure they
Everybody
will.
else say, you don't need approval from us, so it's like, these are just our opinions, but yeah.
Yeah,
you'll-
that's just
you'll get
my-
Lots more of input on that, but on exactly how that should look, but
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, for us, we care about, okay, so they would be 20 rental units, and is the idea that 5 of them would be affordable?
That's correct.
Okay, so we would be able to count all 20 towards our inventory. Great.
and they're roughly 950 to 1,000 or so square feet.
Yeah, I would say the blended average would put it at 975.
Okay,
And I know these dates are never real, but what's your goal of like, assuming you do it like 2023, 2024,
Well, I would like to start digging tomorrow morning.
I realize that.
Yesterday.
It really depends on everyone else's schedule. I'm ready to move forward,
Gotcha.
Clearly our rendering's done. I actually have all my engineering done
Mhm.
for the sewer, for the septic and everything, my water needs. I'm 100% there today.
Yeah.
But, we still have to engage the state of Massachusetts. We're working on the application. We're working with Orenberger and Associates to file the right paperwork. And we have another consultant, I'm sorry that I just can't remember her name right at the moment, that we're working with as well. And, so that stuff takes time,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And then we have to go, I think the next step for us is after that application, we go to the zoning board. Is that correct, Lauren?
So we need the select board actually to agree to sign the application on behalf of the town.
Right,
Because there's the process that you follow is there's like a pre-application to the state to make sure the project is eligible. And then once you get that letter of project eligibility, that's when you can then file with the zoning board.
right.
But in order to even get to that project eligibility portion, you need the agreement of the town to file, a comprehensive permit with the private developer. So, but that's why we're here with the Affordable Housing Steering Committee today, because if this group would like to entertain a recommendation to the select board to move forward with this project, that would be your opportunity to take a vote and support a letter that would then help Mike continue down the process and convince the select board that this is a benefit to the town if that's something that you feel.
Yep. Yeah, so overall, I mean, I see, I've got a question for Mr. Kears. Do you know if this will be a workforce, I guess, were you looking to do workforce housing or like any sort of preference on the affordable housing, or have you not thought about that yet?
So when I was talking to the consultant, they said we weren't gonna make it, you can't do workforce unless it's 100% workforce. You
Right.
can't isolate the 5 units to workforce. So then you're just back at the affordable guidelines. The blended is 80% of the mean income.
Right.
Because we talked the other day to the 40B consultant, and they said that I said, well, what about partial 55 and over? And they said, you can't do it in a 100% rental building. You either all in or all out. And I really don't think we're in a position where we could box ourselves into limiting who can live in the building.
Mhm. Okay.
And unfortunately, it would be a great workforce building because of where it is located on the T.
Yep.
But the money that Charlie Baker had to supplement that is all gone. And I don't think it's gonna come back.
And is this septic or sewer?
This is septic.
Wall Road tax credits. So I'm not sure if what you meant by that, Paul. So, I'm communicating through text with Paul here. So
Yeah, they had workforce housing tax credits, but those
I
are all,
gotcha.
that's all dried up right now. A lot of that went to the TODs that were built in Medford, Somerville, Cambridge.
Gotcha.
And are you asking for some funds from the Affordable Housing Trust to go towards this at all?
We would like to, because the cost of dealing with the state of Massachusetts is substantial. Unfortunately, I mean, consultants and everything, you're at north of $100,000 for a 20-unit project. That's an expensive proposition.
All right, so for the next steps for us would be just a general letter of support to the select board, assuming people are okay with it. And yeah, when you go to the trust, you either come back and talk to us, and we can support you there if we think it makes sense. But I think first you got to get the select board to say, yeah, we're willing to go through. Do we think of any reasons why the select board would say no? Is there anything we should address, in a dealing with this?
Yeah, Lauren, do you think they're receptive to this? Would be receptive?
It's hard to say. We have a whole new select board, basically. Not a whole new one, but it's a different makeup. I think the concern that you'll hear, as with any of these sort of proposals, is that, compared to the neighbors, that you're doing something that's not currently allowed under zoning. And that's, I think, what the main pushback that you'll hear is.
Yeah.
But with that said, if you think about the location, it's transit-oriented development, those are kind of the things that are helpful to make the case for why this makes sense, as well as also how it would help our, housing production plan goals, et cetera. So those are the points that I think would be helpful, because I feel that probably the number one concern that's going to come out is that, it's just a residential zone that you're putting in more density that you typically wouldn't be able to do without a comprehensive permit, which is why we're channeling it through this permitting path.
Right, but within 2 years, more than likely within 2 years, the zoning will be in place for the TOD anyway, will it not?
Well,
We're guessing, yeah. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, this fits with the parameters of what they're looking for, is to have it.
But they don't require affordable.
No.
Right.
So this is a benefit, if I
To
waited it
both.
out, if I waited it out, I wouldn't have to do affordable. And I don't mind doing affordable. I've experience doing it. I'm doing 56 apartments in Dorchester, and we're at 16% affordable. And we just finished 31 apartments in Roxbury, and we did 15.8% affordable there. So I've experienced doing it, and I feel like it. To me, it's a good way to get people to stay in the community based where they're from. Hopefully it goes to people within the community, but that's a hard thing to control.
Yeah. No, I think the two things that we'd want to highlight is, although we do have a lot of affordable housing coming online over the next year or two, that really just gets us to 2020, right? We're going to be under 10%. So all the stuff that's coming on is going to get us so that we'll be above 10% based on 2020. But if we continue to grow as a town, we're not going to be there in 2030.
We're not going to meet that percentage.
So this would help us so that we're not trying to do a bunch of stuff around 2029 to get the things done, especially if they start passing things on it, accessory units and things like that. That's going to drive up our denominator. So I think, I'm happy to take a stab at a letter to the select board for us to take a vote on. Do we need to have the actual letter in front of us, Lauren, or can we just approve a general letter and I can write it and send it?
Right. Yes. If you agree, you could agree today. You don't have to have the letter physically in front of you right now. And you could just the committee would vote to authorize Rob to sign as chair.
Okay.
Well, I'm very enthusiastic about it myself. I think that it really fits the TOD suggestions, requirements. It fits what we're trying to do with affordable housing. I think it's attractive. I think it's a great location for it. I'm happy to move that we, approve a letter to the select board backing this project.
I think it's good. I think it's a great use of that particular space because it's wet there. There isn't a lot that you can do with it. And I think we can use more rental apartments like this. And yeah, I think it's good. I think the building's very attractive and I think it's a good idea to see if you can do it.
Paul's got it. We got a yes. All right. So Susan, we have a motion to write a letter of support. We'll highlight the location. We'll highlight that it should hopefully help, although it's not workforce housing specific, but it could help people, working in Cohasset, finding an affordable place to live, as well as it'll help us towards our 2030 goals. And so I'll find a way to put that in nicely. So it's a motion from Susan. Do I get a second?
Second.
It'd have to be you, Beth, because Paul can't talk. Can I get any other discussion? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I know this is inappropriate, but I think
Maybe just that add in there's something that we're trying to be forward thinking so that as we expect the number of housing units to increase, like you were talking about, that we're staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I also think with the emphasis on the living near the transportation hubs.
Yes, that part of it I think is really.
This is actually
Ideal.
probably the best that we could do because in all reality, there's nothing around the train station that's extremely buildable except you being willing to make this area work,
Yeah,
there really isn't much else.
No, I think it's a good use of the space given the location of the train.
Yeah.
The train will be looked at in 10 years as a failure if we don't start building. I mean, Situate is building quite a bit around the train station.
Oh, they've got that huge complex that's across
Yeah.
the street
Yeah,
from
and
the
that,
Greenbush.
yeah, and they got a lot of funding there, and it's going to help a lot with the train needs to be used, needs to be utilized, and
Yeah,
and,
well,
and
they're
I-
gonna take it away, yeah.
yeah, and I don't think they can take it away, but they're definitely putting pressure to get more people to go around the train station. And there's a certain sense of community when there is a commuter station there. I mean, you have a little strip mall out front that doesn't even have like a nighttime restaurant, and it's like, well, I get off the train, I can't even go to eat. You know what I mean? So I think the next thing to make it supportive is to get something better commercial based as well. I think the Kennedy landscaping yard has potential of being a big area. I don't know anything about that guy or anything. I tried to call him, but he didn't call me back. So,
Oh, the guy across the way there, yeah.
yeah,
You mean not Kennedy, his name's, oh God, what's his name?
I don't
But
like
He's been there forever, yeah.
yeah. So he's probably not going to go anywhere. But that has potential to be a great TOD site.
Yeah, good point, yeah.
With a commercial component with it. That can
Wait, where is that one you're talking about?
the landscape yard across from the
The
train
guy
station.
who owns the gravel and,
Oh, yeah, where the gravel place is. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that doesn't bring any real value to Cohasset compared to what a TOD there, maybe like 200 apartments could do with commercial base. It has to have a commercial base to be sustainable. All right, that benefits the community as a whole. So Cohasset's growing. I mean, do you know what your percentage of growth is annually?
I don't have that figure right now.
it was like we were growing at, we're 3,000 units. So we did like 300, so it's about 10. It's not much. It's like 2 or 3% per year. Yeah, so it's
Well,
not. It adds up over time. Yeah.
Over a 10-year period, 20%
Yeah.
growth
Yeah.
is a lot, and that requires a lot more services on a community than you have currently.
Yeah.
What was our 2020 population? Lauren, do you have any idea?
I don't have that figure off the top of my head, but I can find out for you.
Yeah, I think. it's
Probably in the
probably,
neighborhood of what, 85, 8,800?
I think higher.
No, you're
Higher?
higher than that.
It's close to
Are we?
10,000.
All right, really? Okay.
Paul's like shaking his head at you there.
No, I think,
Okay.
I think,
He's texting to me. Oh, 8,500, he's saying. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're only about 85.
That's what I was thinking, but.
It's about 3,000 households. So, cool. All righty. So I think we're good, Mike. We'll get that together and I'll forward it on. Do we know when the select board's going to take this up, Lauren?
So haven't made the request yet, wanted to get your piece done first, but I will connect with Mike and we'll determine next steps.
yeah, our application will be ready to go this week, Lauren.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll try to get the letter to you tomorrow, just because I'm going on vacation, so I can get that out and done. And but yeah, it'll be we'll support it, and then
I think it, and I don't know, I'll defer to Lauren, but I think if you have something in there regarding the TOD mandate, that this kind of accomplishes two things. They're looking
Yeah.
15 per acre.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Kind of getting ahead of it a little bit.
Yeah. We'll mention it. They're very, very, very familiar with the mandate. Yeah, so don't want to hit them over the head with it, and yeah.
No,
And we'll see what actually really happens with that. Cool.
all right,
Thank you, Mike, for your time. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate everyone's time.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mike.
Looks
All right,
great.
have a good
Thanks,
evening.
thanks for doing this.
All
Oh,
right,
no problem at all.
bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we'll do a letter of support. I did send, I don't know if we can put it here. We can put it, I'll do it on the items not anticipated. Okay, so we'll wait to that. Updates on different housing stuff that we have. 808, I don't have anything new there. I think they're still just going through the process of getting approvals and moving forward. I don't know, Lauren, if you have anything new from that.
They closed their process at the zoning board. They just, I believe, were anticipating the actual filing of the decision. And then there's a 20-day appeal process from when that's filed. But they are moving along. And I spoke with Noreen. They seem to be in good shape so far.
Okay. 390 CJC. That's where I think certificate of occupancy we're hoping for in the fall.
Right, and as you can all, I'm sure, see, the sewer connection line is underway.
Yeah. So we're underway. Okay. 8789 Cushing Road. Did the thing happen, or the June 29th? How did that go? I wasn't able to attend.
So I was not, I did not attend, but that was an information session. And
Yeah.
then I did have at least one person come and pick up an application from me, which was very exciting. So, and we have a lot, we've distributed them as far and wide as we possibly could. So
Mhm. Do we know if we have many in the lottery?
I don't know, but I will ask for an update from the housing consultant.
Yeah, because if they don't,
Did you distribute something to the Willcut in case there's any seniors who might be
I
also
distribute it
interested?
to the school system and to the elder affairs and ask them to further distribute it.
Okay,
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah, if we don't have 4 applicants, can you please let me know? It's
Yes.
like, because that'll be kind of sad if we finally get, affordable housing and nobody wants it. I'm really hoping we do have people.
Yeah. I did make a point also to, because we have a local preference in this that is applicable to like existing school students, people in the system. So I purposely also sent to the Masco coordinator for our school district, because there's a lot of children who currently don't live in town, but may be eligible for that program that would be eligible under local preference.
Yeah, gotcha. So I think I just, everybody here, if we continue to make sure people are aware that this is coming up, because it's going to be really hard to argue that we need affordable housing if nobody wants it.
And they've already bought it. They've already closed on it, right?
I believe they've structured a deal to deed restrict it, is the. So
Correct.
they don't own it, but they've done the stuff that they need to do to make this so.
Okay,
Right. CHI is not actually going to maintain and own the property. The existing property owner was maintaining, and there was an agreement in place to have this take place
okay. Didn't know how that was
with
working.
perpetual deed restrictions.
I
Yeah.
see.
1 Pleasant Street is demolished, right?
It's demolished, and they are working on their permitting process to build as was originally planned.
Cool. I know we talked, I know Habitat had reached out about the Elm Street. Have we heard anything else on that? You know, I didn't get any follow-up from Noreen on that.
Yes, I've been communicating with them. There's nothing that's public yet, but
Okay.
conversations are underway.
With the trust or,
Yes.
okay, good. So Habitat.
So I will update you as soon as I have something publicly updatable.
Oh, that's great.
And Lauren, what's the status of the property where the gas station is, Haj?
There is a special permit application that's actually opening tomorrow. There is an inclusionary zoning requirement for that property, but it's to be sort of finalized as to how they fulfill that yet.
Oh, that's the one in downtown, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's across the side from the Red Lion.
Yes.
And then the one across from the Catholic Church is still going through it, moving forward slowly but surely, right?
Yes.
South Main Street, yep. Cool. We have something from Mr. Kears. Where do we stand on the grant?
Remind me which grant. I've
Mo-
applied
moving-
for a lot in recent.
Moving the culvert.
Moving the culvert. Okay, we won't hear the result of that grant until they said September or October.
Okay.
Hmm.
Cool. Any other sites?
That is, oh, no, we already covered 808 Jerusalem Road. No, that's everything.
Cool.
Paul, Rob, can I ask Paul a question?
Sure.
Do you hear any more from Wayne about, the talk that he had about the property up behind Shaw's? Any thought of anything there? So at the present, he just owns it and it's just there. Okay.
Lauren, update on
Yes.
Affordable Housing Trust.
The Affordable Housing Trust, their last meeting was, they had an executive session to discuss matters of real estate. They have a meeting tomorrow morning where they're discussing, they're sort of awaiting a status update as to the transfer of those 2 parcels that were approved at special town meeting, because they have a request into the select board to get that in motion. One of the in-betweens is that the town has town council retained as KP Law, and then the trust is still using a different attorney firm. So it's not like this is all one firm communicating. So it really is for the select board and town council to initiate that transfer so that it will actually be physically transferred to the trust. So that's in process. There's really, until that becomes actually under the title of the Affordable Housing Trust, they're not really able to make forward progress or plans. So that's pending.
I'm sorry,
And then, sorry.
can you repeat that again?
Yeah, so the actual transition of the deed of ownership
Yep.
has not taken place yet.
Okay.
So there's the Affordable Housing Trust has requested to the select board time at an agenda to discuss
Yep.
and have an update. I haven't heard the status of that update, but more to come following tomorrow's meeting.
So is it on the agenda for tomorrow or no?
Just to give an update as to where the process, but there's nothing substantial yet to update. They can't really engage in next steps until they own the property.
Right, but is there something on the agenda that will have the select board agree to move the stuff? Is the select board holding it up or is it somebody else?
The select board needs to take action.
So that could be brought up tomorrow in the update?
Yes, and Steve Gomer has reached out on behalf of the trust to the select board to begin that dialogue.
Because are we getting the sense that the select board has cold feet and is changing their mind? But the town has voted, right?
Yes.
So what's on the agenda tomorrow? I'm just saying if we should be attending the meeting tomorrow to kind of say, guys, sorry that you have cold feet, but you need to move forward.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, this was voted on at town meeting.
sorry to confuse you. The Affordable Housing Trust is meeting tomorrow, not
Okay,
with the select board.
gotcha. Select board's meeting tonight and there's nothing on the agenda tonight
Correct.
for this. Okay, gotcha, gotcha.
And then so tomorrow at the trust, I would anticipate Steve Gomer is going to update us on his latest conversation with the select board chair.
I'm sure that went well. I have no sarcasm in my voice at all. Okay, so right now stuff is not moving, but we'll get updates.
Yes.
And is it 8:30 tomorrow morning, the trust?
8:45.
8:45. Cool. Anything else from the trust people?
They're developing a communications plan, working with the communications director, and are trying to engage in more vocal outreach to the community. So that's something that they will be working on undertaking in this year.
Great. Full year 23 AHSC goals and discussion. So we have put the goals in the minutes of the meetings that we approved last time. What were we planning on discussing here today?
I kept it as a placeholder in case you wanted to discuss anything.
Is there anything anybody would like to do? Well, Paul's texting me, so maybe he might want to discuss something. In fact, they have committed approvals tonight, so we may get approvals the 26th. We're talking about something from the past, I'm sure. He's typing, please hold. Board members. Yeah, I don't know if we weren't on the,
We're talking about reducing to 5. Is that what you mean, Paul?
overall, I think it was, I don't think Affordable Housing Steering Committee was on the
For our for
agenda.
renewal, like who's staying on the board?
Yeah,
Is that what you mean?
yeah, that's not on the, for the select board, we weren't on that for tonight, right, Lauren?
I'm checking their agenda right now. No, you're not.
We are not.
But I know that they indicated they would be doing appointments this and their second July meeting, so I believe that's probably going to follow at July 26th.
Okay.
Can I ask what do I need to do to stay on? Do I need to approach Taffy to get some kind of something official from the housing authority, or I don't know. I'm just trying to, no, Paul's saying no, so.
Have you already reached out to Tracy Connors in the town manager's office indicating that you'd like to remain?
I don't think I have, actually.
Okay, so Tracy would be your contact person to indicate that you'd like to proceed with a reappointment.
Okay.
And I think Jen was she reached out to and was filling something out as well, Jen Carpenter.
Yes.
That's good. Anything else from the goals that we'd like to talk about?
Paul's
Paul has something.
Paul's got, so I'm looking at the 3 little dots going, here.
Still speaking.
Take your time, Paul. I know one of the things was around the bylaws. Oh, yes, we got value in kind. So can we get somebody to volunteer to, put something together and approach the planning board? Or, I mean, so basically one of the things that we put in our goals is that we feel, and I know the Affordable Housing Trust agrees with this as well, or at least they've indicated agreement, towards it, is right now in the bylaws, it's kind of up to the planning board, and it's very nebulous as to, okay, if you want to do something in lieu of units, what is it? And so I think that, our idea is we were suggesting that, we should have, like other towns say, like I think it's Duxbury, it's 250. It's either you do it or you give the Affordable Housing Trust $250,000, or others that might be higher. So I think we would want, one of the goals we're saying is like to actually get that number there so that developers can, make a decision, and it could be a good funding mechanism for the Affordable Housing Trust to get cash in. So who would like to lead that project for the Affordable Housing Steering Committee? I think you'd have to get the trust, the planning board, and potentially the bylaw working group involved to come up with a proposal.
Well, I think the material that I had done, we never came to a figure, and I don't have it in front of me. But
I'm trying to look it up right now, Mary, because I know we were working on that like a year ago.
Yeah.
Yep. But it seemed, if I could recall from my memo, that most towns do a flat figure. The EOCD, I think it's called, has a format and a recommendation for suburban towns of a certain size. My recollection is it was $350,000, but I'm not sure. I think that's the easiest to go by what the state does, recommends, but I think our committee would have to decide what they wanted. And again, I don't have that information in front of me, and I'm not sure I can get it easily because my computer's not.
Mary, I just found what I had written to you back in January. And this was just based on my conversation with Ted Lubitz, who has worked on affordable housing projects through other locations. And he's familiar with the set-asides for affordable housing. And I asked him if he happened to know what other towns do. And he said that it usually ranges 280 to 380,000 per unit to be the norm, depending on the town, the location. So I would think that somewhere in that neighborhood for Cohasset, maybe 325 is an appropriate figure.
So how do we actually make that happen? Right, like, so if we want to change the bylaws, that would have to be voted on in town meeting, I would assume, right?
Correct.
So we would need somebody to, we would need to select, well, we need a warrant, and we would need the select board to support that warrant. Now there's, what's happening with the bylaw committee? Are they being blown up, or are they, do they still exist?
They still
Come
exist.
together if
They-
what the process would be, I guess.
So the bylaw committee, the zoning bylaw working group started under master plan. They're still planning to move ahead with a zoning rewrite. It will be in phases. The first part is going to be primarily reorganization, formatting, things like that. But as they get further along, they plan to have more content heavy changes. With that said, the inclusionary zoning is a zoning bylaw, so the planning board has to hold a public hearing on it. So it would involve the planning board process as well, along with the select board referral as you prepare for a town meeting warrant. But Tom Callahan is the chair right now of the planning board, and he's also basically pseudo chairing the zoning working group. So I'd be happy to connect him and whoever is the most appropriate representative here, so we can start that conversation about how we plug that in, because that, if it's one bylaw change, that can be accommodated relatively simple. It's not like we are trying to change a massive piece of text.
Good. So Mary, since you've already worked on it, Paul has volunteered through his text, or at least I'm lying and saying he did, but he can't say no. If the two of you could work with Tom to see if we can get something on the warrant. I mean, I think the goal would be to create an article for town meeting to get this changed. Would that be okay?
Oh, that sounds good. Yep.
Okay. So Mary and Paul have volunteered. Thank you.
And just as an FYI, Ted did say that he would be willing to meet with us to discuss what his experience has been with other communities at some point, is in executive session, just as long as their particular situation remains confidential.
Sure.
If we need any further input.
Well, I think that'd be useful because he'll know what the real numbers are. And because I think what we'll need to understand is, you'll have people going, well, the average house is $1 million, so it should be $1 million. And it's like, well, no, that's not gonna really work, so
Right.
how do you come to a reasonable number? That's not, outrageously high, that's gonna scare everybody away, but that's not so low that you feel like they're getting away with something. So I think that's what we need to find that balance, and perhaps he would be able to advise on. how
Yeah.
to approach
Well,
that.
that's where the 280 to 380, I think,
Yeah,
seems to fit. And that was in January. Housing prices have continued to escalate the past year, right, Beth? So I can't imagine that number would have dropped below that.
Well, I mean, I'd also argue for the state. The state's already gone to the trouble of figuring out what a unit is in most upper end suburbs, and it's in the middle of that memo, and I can resend that later on today. But my recollection is it was $350,000, and it was something that was adopted by Newton and a couple of other communities that are not disadvantaged places. So, and it's something that I think we could easily defend because it's what everybody else is, what other people are using, and it's generated by the state. And I think it changes year to year depending on what they figure out. So, but I can resend that memo with all that information. But again, my recommendation would be to just use the figures that the state has come up with. That certainly a unit in Newton, to me is not an unreasonable comparison.
Yeah.
And that was 300.
yeah. And I don't think we don't need to solve the number here. I mean,
Specific
Paul
number,
is
okay.
writing about, maybe better to do a percentage.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of stakeholders, and they're all
Mhm.
going to have really strong opinions. So we're going to have to figure out something that, we can get the planning board to agree with, the select board to agree with, the trust to agree with. And so I'm sure there'll be a diversity of opinions, and there'll be some sort of compromise on that. So there's no sense in us, I think, coming up with a number, because it will change
Okay.
based on, but I think that's the work that needs to be done, is having those conversations with those different groups, trying to build consensus so that we can get something on the warrant and actually hopefully approve. We probably should reach out to the who are the purse string people in the the advisory board.
Advisory committee.
Yeah, it's like once we have something, is yes, because they need to vote on every warrant, or they put what they think about every warrant as well. So it'd be good to get them, just in the discussion to make sure that that's good. And then, but I'm hopeful that we should be able to get something done. Awesome.
Beth, do you have other folks that we should be talking to about this that you would recommend? In your
Sorry.
business?
Uh,
Do you have
you're-
other people in your business that we should talk to, that you might recommend?
developers, bigger developers. I don't really know any, bigger developers around town. Yeah. I thought your idea of, first of all, using the state guidelines as a great starting place, and with comparable towns.
Yep.
And then Susan's input from Ted, they certainly know what they're doing too. So. But that would be a good goal that we could accomplish. Get something concrete on that.
All right, so I think the first probably call is Mary and Paul with Tom, because if we don't have the planning board on board, it's not going to go anywhere, because it's kind of changing their power structure. But I think he would be amenable to it, so I think that would be good.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, discuss future meeting schedule. Bi-monthly or monthly? What do people think?
I'm fine either way. The Zoom seems to work well. I think that this 4 o'clock Zoom for the most part works well. We could, but I'm willing to defer to, what other people feel.
Is monthly too much for you, Rob?
Don't worry about me.
Uh-oh.
Paul? I don't,
I mean,
Yeah.
what I would suggest is next month is August, right? So probably.
Yeah, we won't do that.
So why don't we just have the next meeting being September? And then in September can decide whether, because a lot of it depends on what's going on. Like if there's stuff that we need to get together, get stuff together for, you know, the town, well, for warrants or whatever, might want to be monthly, but, you know, I think August would be fine to skip. So I'd say, Lauren, if we could just, you know, plan on September as the next meeting, that would be great.
I'll probably miss the September meeting. That's the one downside of every other month for meetings. Because our daughter's getting married September. Oh, wait, let me look.
You can move the
September.
wedding around the Affordable Housing Steering Committee. I mean, come on,
No.
have your priorities straight. You know, like,
Sorry, I've only got 2 girls.
but no, maybe it's in the fall, it's monthly, and then this, I think it's something that, you know, kind of, I think August is fine to miss. I don't think there's a lot. I'm trying to call people and I can't find anybody. So it's like, if you can meet with Tom in the next 2 months, that'll be freaking awesome. But, you know, it's like between 3 people, 3 vacations, you know, 6 weeks are probably, you know, no good.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd still like to advocate for in-person because my internet is just still comes and goes and I can't hear sometimes what people are saying. I don't know what other options I have. And it just doesn't, we're just right behind the high school and the cell tower is up way up on the water tower. And so we get spotty coverage and I just, you know, I just think in person is much better for me.
Are we allowed to do in person, Lauren, or no?
Not yet, but I'm anticipating that by September, I'll have a more solid update as to what the plan is. So I will circle back with you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Well, we've done in person at Elder Affairs, but we have to do the owl.
Right.
Like, so some people can Zoom in and some people are in person.
Owl?
They call it an owl. It's like this new high-tech thing where it watches the room
Like a smart
where you're
webcam.
live and then people Zoom in and we can see
Oh.
them on a screen.
Okay,
So it's a hybrid meeting.
yeah, right.
For September, we'll plan on Zoom, but at that meeting, we can decide if we want to change based on guidance from the state and whatever everybody else is doing.
So we'd be looking at September 13th.
Yeah, I mean, or the 20th, whichever. Whatever works for you, Susan.
When's your wedding?
It's the 17th and we leave the morning, early the morning of the 14th.
All right, so 13th is perfect. Awesome.
Yeah, right. Just when I want to do the afternoon before I'm trying to get packed and get the dog off to the kennel and
And
make
where,
sure I can still fit in my mom dress, my mother of the bride dress.
where is the wedding?
It's in Sonoma, at a vineyard in
nice.
Sonoma.
Beautiful.
That's a short 5-hour flight. Come on. Man.
Yeah, right.
Not
Not
much-
that the puppy keeps us up at night at all, right?
No. Okay,
The
administrative.
20th I'm back though, if you want to do it, or the whenever it is.
20th
I
is
don't know.
fine. Let's do the 20th.
Yeah, but when are you coming back? The wedding's
We're
what?
coming back, well, we get home like at 2 o'clock in the morning on the 19th.
Perfect.
Okay.
Either way, I don't care. You guys figure out what you want to do, whatever works for everybody else.
Do the 20th and then we can hear about the wedding.
Yeah,
Okay.
bring pictures. Cool. All right, administrative stuff. Well, I'm gonna do this a little bit out of order. Approval of the minutes. I sent the minutes out today from yesterday. Everybody approve?
So
Yeah.
good.
Yep,
Susan, motion, Beth,
Yeah.
Yep.
seconded. All right, so minutes approved. Whatchamacallit? I did send out a letter, so this would
Yep.
go under the item. So what happened is Ted gave me a call. So there's 4 units in the Cushing that will be available for affordable housing. 3 of them will be empty, so those will definitely be in the lottery. The 4th one has somebody living in there who would love to move to HUD. They don't want to kick that person out, and so I said, I sincerely doubt it will have any impact whatsoever. But he did ask if we could, send a note to HUD asking, say, hey, can you consider this person? Apparently what she is saying, the person that it impacted, is that she had put an application in, but for whatever reason, I don't know, it's not on file. So she's put a new application in. But I guess I have no idea what the line is or anything like that. If she can move, obviously we get affordable housing quicker on our, whatchamacallit, our inventory. So I don't know what people's thoughts are on this. I'm open. I said I promised to bring it up, so I am bringing it up.
Can I ask a question about her staying there? Why would she not qualify? You said in the letter that she's under the 80%.
I would guess she does qualify, but I guess the concern is she might not get it. Is that?
But
Is
there's in part of the local preference is existing applicants.
Yeah.
But you know what it is, and I don't know the individual, but it's more than just 80% area mean income. There's also like, you can't have more than $75,000 in assets,
Okay, could be.
which can also oftentimes be problematic for,
Mhm.
particularly when you have like older applicants.
Yeah, she's saying, yeah, so there must be something that's saying that she's not eligible to remain at the property. So that
Okay.
would be my guess, is what's knocking her out of it.
Did you hear back from Taffy from the
No.
letter?
No, because I never sent anything to her because
But then Taffy at our Elder Affairs meeting, right, Paul, she was saying it's a very convoluted process.
It
to
is.
get people into these units.
It
And
is.
they won't give us local preference.
No.
right? It's a
That
state.
stopped about, I don't know, 8 or so years ago.
Yeah.
is
That's for
Taffy,
the housing authority, right? You mean,
is
The
Taffy
housing
Helen?
authority.
Is that Taffy's real name?
Yeah, is Taffy's real name Helen?
Is Helen.
Taffy Nothnagel. Yeah. So it must be her. We call her Taffy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. I know her and can recognize her by
Taffy.
sight. So,
But she was explaining how difficult the list is and that people, it's kind of like you put your name in the black hole and you don't know where it's going to go. So I don't know, even if these people around town try to apply, I mean, is the lottery different, Lauren, than the lottery for the units different than going on to the list that the housing authority has to
Oh, yeah,
use?
it goes into a
Yes.
different place,
totally
right?
different organizations, different eligibility requirements.
So this woman that's living on Cushing, this person living on Cushing Street wants to go into the lottery or won't qualify for the lottery. Is that what you're saying?
I believe my understanding of what Rob explained is that she's not eligible to qualify for the affordable housing lottery to get into the SHI restricted unit, but she's interested in going into or he or she is interested in going into the housing authority.
60 Elm. Yeah.
Right.
But from what we heard at our elder meeting, they have no control over who goes in there. She can put her name on the list, but she's competing with statewide, countrywide. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's really nuts because you have people who, they have to take anybody and everybody onto the list. And it could be somebody that's down in the Cape, it could be somebody out in the Berkshires, it could be, way up North Shore, it could be any community who really doesn't want to live in Cohasset, but they apply and it goes to every housing authority. So
So,
anyway, we
okay.
can't solve that tonight.
Yeah. So the question is, do we want to send a note knowing that, it's highly unlikely that it's going to have an impact, but it could build some goodwill with, both Ted and the individual to know at least we tried. I don't see how it could hurt.
Yeah, I don't think you lose anything by doing it. And then, with understanding, on the part of Taffy that we do understand that it's
Highly unlikely.
not likely to make any difference.
Yeah. So, if I'll put it to vote, but if everybody's okay, what I'll do is I'd send it to Taffy and I'd preface, and I'll put the official, but I'll preface with, we know that this may not have an impact, but, we just wanted to make sure you're aware of this situation. And great, if something can be done, wonderful. If it can't, so be it. But at least I think that buys us a little bit of goodwill that, we're looking out, we're trying to get more affordable housing in Cohasset. We're trying to, do it, as reasonable as possible. Does that seem okay? Cohasset, I keep calling you Cohasset. Lauren, you're looking contemplative.
Oh, the sun is straight in my eyes, actually. So
Okay.
it's like,
She's being interrogated.
Okay, so can I get a motion to send the letter to Taffy?
So moved.
Second is Paul.
It's a good letter. Thank you, Paul, or what's your name, Rob?
All right, so I will sign, all in favor for me signing the letter as presented. Say aye.
Aye.
All right, and unanimous. Okay, good. All righty. We approved the minutes. We talked about that. Any other, well, member comments, any other business? Doesn't look like it. So what I.
Did we decide that we're going to 5 members?
That is we sent that to the select board. I have received confirmation that they have received it. They have not yet
Okay.
voted on it.
Okay, so they have to approve that. Okay,
They have to approve a change to our charter. So I would
okay.
guess that when they're doing the members, that they would hopefully do that as well. We'll maybe, Lauren, if we could kind of poke them, when they do that they do it at the same time. That would be great.
yes, I will speak with Tracy and see where that stands in terms of the queue of select board items.
So 2 things. One is what I would like to do is adjourn the meeting, but if you could stay on, and then so I'm not going to continue on the Affordable Housing Steering Committee, but I'd like to tell you why, but I would not like to do that in a public meeting. Is that okay, Lauren?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yep, once you adjourn, I can stop the recording.
Okay, so motion to adjourn,
So move.
and all in favor? Aye. All right,
Aye.
good. So we can adjourn, we can stop recording.